someone gets hurt.
There's bugs in my skin. You're responsible for me. I'm getting offended. I'm a big fat gamer.
TGG, the voices are normal, and you should listen to them.
TGG. I'm getting offended.
TGG, this was the phrase we thought of.
Legal counsel advised us to replace what was supposed to go here.
TGG, it isn't funny until someone gets hurt.
There's bugs in my skin. You're responsible for me. I'm getting offended. I'm a big fat gamer.
TGG, the voices are normal, and you should listen to them.
TGG. I'm getting offended.
Hello, everybody. What is up? It's me, your favorite son, here with TGG Plus episode 4. I'm obviously joined by my great co-host, Evan Prince. And this time,
That's me.
we have our first guest in that of Matt from Hidden Machine.
Hello.
The distinguished, the gentlemanly. So we have a lot to talk about today. There's a lot going on. Big news with Helldivers 2. Some crazy stuff there we'll get into in a bit. Some losses reported for Square Enix. Some crazy stuff there as well. And some Take-Two shutdown stuff. But before we get into that, let's catch up with the boys. How you guys been?
It's I've had a pretty good week so far. I'll tell you what I did. Matt, do you know what I did today right before I got on stream? Did you ever hear that before we went live?
Nope.
I saw The Phantom Menace in theaters for its 25th anniversary re-release.
Oh, wow.
It was his day
You,
in the
you-
light today.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Star Wars at all, Matt?
Yes.
You are?
Well,
okay.
There's a caveat to that.
There's always a caveat with Star Wars fans.
I was a big Star Wars fan. I was a big Star Wars purist until Phantom Menace came out. And
Ooh.
I was in the Star Wars fan club, and I remember getting, like, before the movie was out, like, you know, like promo materials in the mail, like, you know, previews and stuff, like, hey, there's something coming. And I immediately thought it looked super whack, and I never watched it because I was, you know, just a very pretentious little kid.
Okay, so you're an OT guy. You're not a big fan of Phantom Menace or the prequels, huh?
Well, I was a little jackass who was like, I'm not even gonna try it. You know, I didn't.
Yeah.
I never saw them, so I don't know.
So you still haven't seen them to this day?
No.
Damn.
Wow.
That's
Damn, dude.
dedication.
I can't believe you've managed to keep it up that long.
I've had people try to convert me, and I don't know. Someday I'll get around to it. I'm sure.
Well,
I had to
what
like
better
let
time
the
than
hate
now?
subside.
It's in theaters.
I can't go to a theater.
You don't
gotta-
like theaters?
Got to let the hate flow through you.
People are. I'm so disgusted with society. Every time I go out in public, I feel worse.
It's like
That's true.
a Sigma male meme right there.
People on their phones in the theater and shit and like talking through the movies is like it's become more and more common to the point where it's just like we don't even have like we have like 2 theaters up here, I think. Very mixed bag experiences.
Okay. Well, dude says Phantom Menace is in my top 5 Star Wars
I know
movies.
there's a lot of Phantom Menace love in the chat right off rip.
The joke is that he's probably saying there's only 6 of them, so it means he doesn't like it very much.
Well, that's just not very nice to
Well,
Evan here.
I like all of them. I like all 6 of them. I took my girlfriend to see it. She hasn't seen it since she was a kid. She loved it. I loved it. It was a great time. Fantastic. International Star Wars Day is tomorrow. Couldn't not go see it. I had a great time.
Hell yeah.
What about you guys? What have y'all been up to?
Well, I wanted to ask you about this on the pod. I know you're working on a micro games video right now. Is that right?
My goal was to finish it before this, and I got it published like 45 minutes ago.
Really?
It's on
So
your
it's
channel
out
now?
It's out now. I've been researching this on and off for 2 years. Basically, I've always
there it
loved
is.
WarioWare, and it's like, what other games are like this? And then as I got deeper into it, I found all these games that never left Japan, lots of indie games and stuff that, you know, just have no real footprint. Yeah. And then life got in the way. I didn't work hard on this for 2 years straight. But I have been working on it on and off for that past 2 years and finally got it done this week, and it feels really good to get this out. I have like about 40 other videos I've started. I start too many big projects at once, and I need to just continue this. I've been on a good trend lately of just finishing one, getting it out the door, and not taking on anything new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I have to. I'm kind of like one-track mind. I need to finish one thing before I move on to the next. But yeah, I was really interested in the project because I saw you tweeting about it a whole bunch. I've been kind of following your progress on it through Twitter and stuff, and it seemed like a really interesting idea. So everybody should go check that video out if you got some time on Hidden Machines channel.
Please.
Yeah, I was particularly interested. I did a little bit of my own research because I saw you tweet about Duck Dynasty mobile game that had a bunch of micro games.
Battle of the Beards from 2014.
Yeah. And I thought one of the funniest things was that one of the micro games is like you're taping boxes, like running their merch empire or something for them.
Yeah.
I thought that was crazy.
Duck Dynasty Merchandise Simulator 2014.
Yeah.
I think the theme of the game is like you're a total square and they're teaching you how to be like Duck Dynasty cool.
Okay.
So like you work for them,
Hell
you're kind of like a
yeah.
grunt, but you like work your way up the ranks and you get more and more like legit in the in the DD style.
Yeah.
Do you eventually like earn your sunglasses or whatever they wear?
Yes.
Oh.
As you play games, you get currency. You can go to the redneck store and get yeah.
That's sick. That's awesome. Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, I've been really interested in that. I haven't been doing much this week. I feel like I don't really have any updates because I'm just gonna say I've been playing Metal Gear over and over again, nonstop.
Yeah, he's working on a gigantic Metal Gear series right now.
Yeah.
Metal Gears. Is that like a Gears of War thing?
Yeah,
it's Gears of War.
It was the sequel, spin-off
Okay.
series of Gears of War.
That's cool. I love Phoenix.
Phoenix, right?
Yeah, this is about
Yeah.
his son though. This is about his yeah. So the Metal Gear, it's like his son.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Cool.
good.
Yeah,
It's-
solid
It's
Phoenix.
kind of niche. You'll just watch the video. You'll figure it out.
Phoenix, yeah.
If I have
Metal Gear-
time.
Phoenix Rises is my favorite one.
Can't blame you there. Can't go. No question.
Oh, somebody in chat remembers the Duck Dynasty game.
Yeah, and they're shit talking it.
Oh.
I thought for 2014 it looked amazing.
Even dated for 2014.
This is not what I expected to be talking about today.
Duck Dynasty mobile game.
Yeah.
I don't
Duck
even know
Dynasty
what it
micro
is,
game.
to be honest. I checked the game out, but I don't know. Is the show just like was it? I don't even know what's around. Are they alive?
It's
Yeah.
yeah, they're alive. It's just it's a bunch of like I don't know why I'm about to talk like I've ever seen it, but I know it's a bunch of like rednecks with big beards.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it came out.
Is it a reality show?
Yeah, it's a reality show. It came out during the era of like life, like following a group of people or like a
Ice
family
Road
Truckers.
reality shows, and they were like rednecks. That was their whole thing. But the thing is, they're like millionaires, and they have like golf courses and shit. They're like mega rich, and like they go to country clubs and stuff like when they're not doing the show and everything. Like it's so fake.
It's like Beverly Hillbillies, basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was never really into it, but it was kind of, I mean, for a minute there, it was probably the biggest thing.
Have you
It's
actually
what-
seen? Have either of you seen an episode?
I have.
I've never seen an episode, but I do know what they kind of look like. That's what all the men in the city that I live in kind of look like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's nice.
I vaguely know they look like ZZ Top, and that's like the beginning and the end of
That's kind of what
Okay.
my grandpa looks like.
just a
bit.
huge beard.
Very long beard, very long hair. Like his hair's longer than mine. He's got white.
It's
long white
distinguished.
hair. Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's a cool guy. Yeah, enough about Duck Dynasty though. Let's talk about Helldivers 2.
So I think they're putting Duck Dynasty skins into Helldivers 2, and players are very upset, and they're review bombing the game because of it.
That's what I gathered from the whole situation.
Oh, I see. Are they replacing like some of the automaton enemies with like duck skins or?
Yeah.
Well, let us know, because I'm kind of pulling that out of my ass.
So if you guys haven't heard, I mean, this is kind of the first thing I wanted to talk about. And I the reason I wanted to talk about it so much was because me and Evan have sort of had a documented process of getting into Helldivers 2 together.
True.
And we got into it kind of late. We got into it like what would you say, like a month ago, month and a half, something like that?
Roughly, yeah. We missed the iconic battle of Malevelon Creek or whatever that was. We came in like a few days after that ended.
Yeah. So we got into it. We streamed like the first time we played it and everything, and been pretty vocal about how much we like the game. Got really addicted to it for a minute. We both got behind on all of the stuff we were doing and had to stop playing it. But today something kind of crazy happened. So to fill everybody in chat who doesn't know what's going on, basically Helldivers 2 now requires you to link your PSN account to your Helldivers account or your Steam account to be able to play or continue playing. So if you already bought the game, it doesn't matter if you've already played it. When you log in, you have to link your account to your PSN account. And apparently this is coming down from Sony, their publisher, and they're sort of mandating it. They're claiming that, and which I think is a true claim, that it was always on the Steam store. This was always something that they had made people aware of, but it wasn't implemented until now. And because of that, they are getting mega shit for it. They're getting review bombed.
Yeah, I saw 20,000 was the last count I saw.
Well, if you look at
recent negative reviews,
if you look at the Steam DB page, it updates faster than Steam. It's actually at like 50,000.
Ugh.
They haven't hit Steam yet?
Did they actually provide like an official like reason why they're doing this?
So apparently it is Sony. It's something that Sony is requiring them to do. So,
right. No, I got that, but
they said it's for
why
security
Sony?
reasons to
Yeah.
like kick out like bad actors and stuff.
But I don't think that
doesn't make much
bullshit.
sense.
Yeah, that
sounds like
screams
bullshit
to me.
I think it's they got a super successful game and want to get all that data from all the players.
Yep.
Ah.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
But
they
people are
want-
really mad about this. They're really mad that they have to link their. Well, what if they are What if they're PC player that doesn't have a PSN account? They have to make one.
You have to make one, but the issue is as well that PSN accounts aren't available in every country. So you.
But do they have it in all the good ones though, right?
Yeah, all the good ones are covered. The bad
No.
Yeah, the
ones
good
don't.
countries. What does
I'm
that
serious,
mean?
though. I saw that as like a caveat, like it's not a big deal. Take 30 seconds and make an account. But like, does anyone know what countries don't have?
Yeah, apparently the bad ones.
We could look it up.
Because I'm really curious if it's just like
North Korea.
I'm just
Yeah, it's
curious.
just that
Is
there's
it a
like
place
one.
where it's just like where they don't even have access to Steam and stuff, anyways? Like I'm just curious, like what it.
I know that there's a. I
What
know
that
there's
means.
a list.
Of bad countries.
Yeah. There's
All
a list
countries are
of-
great.
Yeah, this is the list of
All of them, you say?
regions.
Listen. People of all stars and stripes are winning in my heart.
Is this your official advocation?
I mean,
for
they
North
have Canada on here, so it can't just be the good countries.
You can't get
that's
you can't get a
facts.
PSN account in Canada.
No, you can.
Oh,
Yeah, that means it's not just the good countries that have it.
Yeah,
though, 'cause
so
Canada fucking sucks.
This list is.
I basically live in Canada.
It's
Where do you
like
live? Dox yourself right now.
132 Pine Street.
there's probably like I think there's like 80 countries here. How many countries are in the world?
Like 156.
Chat is saying Russia, Iran, North Korea, Ecuador.
Source. I need a source. Source on that information.
Only African country that
Yeah.
has PSN is South Africa. So the
Yeah,
entire
what's your source?
continent. Yeah, that is true. The list doesn't seem to have any African countries. I don't see Chad on here.
That's a real country.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is. I mean, so if it is, I mean,
His sources.
so even just
trust me,
saying
bro,
South
so
Africa is
that's-
the only African country. I was just curious if it was like if it was significant or not. You know what I mean?
I think it's pretty. I mean, that's a pretty significant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Russia's like the
Amount.
biggest continent on the planet. So.
Yeah.
I think so.
So there's a lot.
So not allowing any human being in the entirety of Russia to play your fucking game is pretty.
Well,
That's pretty wild.
Play your game through like, you know, good channels, right? Because like technically
Yeah.
you can get a VPN and then sign up for an account, but then you're breaking PlayStation TOS or Sony's TOS.
Yeah, and someone shouldn't have to do all that just because they were born in Novosibirsk, you know?
Yeah, but it does get worse. Gets even worse. Because that I think alone is pretty bad. That's not great. But their response to this has been pretty rough. Specifically, they have one community manager in their Discord that has been being pretty sassy to people in the Discord.
Is it that same one who they had to tone down like a month ago?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. I know they've had problems with community managers before.
Yeah, they've had problem with that before.
But specifically, they had said somebody was complaining in the Discord, and they kind of made a response like, "Oh, I thought you refunded, and were leaving." It's and that really rubbed people the wrong way. I know specifically a big driving force behind this has been the streamer Pirate Software. I don't know if you guys are aware of him. Streamer and game dev. He's very
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah, I know that guy. I've seen him.
But he's a pretty big proponent of this being a very bad thing. So Spitz is the person that I'm referencing, the community manager that they have. So yeah, that rubbed people the wrong way. And then that made everything worse. Now people are very mad. And,
I can understand.
The review bombing is getting even worse. Yeah. So I guess like, what do you guys think about this? But it's also the other thing that I wanted to say too is like, the other side is also not good, because like as much as this is like a bad thing, and if you don't want to support it, I don't think you should be supporting it at all. But at the same time, like obviously, like every one of these situations that ever happens, people are taking it way too far, and sending people death threats and shit like that, and that's not cool. Shouldn't do that, obviously.
Super not.
But
Unless it's justified.
but
Yeah.
this is not justified. I have deemed
No.
it right now, right here, and I'll tell you when you can send death threats to people.
Thank
yeah,
you.
if it's justified to threaten to kill someone, then obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to wait for the approval of your favorite son, and we're
Yes.
just the cousins.
That's what I'm here for. What else would
Like-
I do?
Personally, my gut reaction is Sony paid for the game, they're paying for the servers, and they're like, hey, you need an account to use our servers, basically. On paper, it's fucking fine. I don't really care. I mean, to anyone who's like really like, this is insane to sign up for a PSN account, it's like, you've signed up for other accounts, I'm sure, or else you probably don't have the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is really whack that they waited this long to do it, even though they said that they always meant to. They said that the reason that they didn't do it was technical limitations, which it sounds like a BS response to me. But again, I don't know anything about. I've never made a game. I've never published a game, at least. So I don't know anything about that. But to me, it seems whack. But also, the fact that there are significant portions of the population that can't sign up for it. It's like, well, then maybe don't. If the game did pretty good without this, like, what do they have to gain by it changing aside from collecting data, which is kind of like what everyone is doing to us all the time anyway, if you're using any service or being in public or having a phone or anything,
I think
whatever data they're collecting probably isn't worth this kind of fumble.
Well,
it doesn't seem like it.
Somebody makes a good point in the chat, which contributes to a lot of people being wary to link another account to the PlayStation Network, which is that Sony has a terrible documented history with data breaches. So
yes,
yeah, I think the privacy end of that becomes a concern a little bit. And I think the biggest thing, I was thinking about this today a lot because, I mean, everybody's been talking about it, but I think the biggest thing is if this was there from the beginning, the response would not be as bad. Because I think, one, because when you sell a product and you show somebody exactly what they're getting from the get-go, then they're more okay with compromising a little bit. But two, because there are so many people now that maybe don't agree with this, and that's fine if you don't agree with it, but you now can't do anything about it. You've already bought the game, you've already played the game, you already have too many hours to refund, it's already been too long, it's not possible anymore. So you're just stuck. You either, if you don't support this, then you just can't play the game that you bought anymore, and you're screwed.
I think all live service games are a fucking trap, and just some you're willing to compromise with some, but no matter what, I feel like it's always a thing that's gonna eventually bite you in the ass. And there's plenty of situations where that's not true, but it just feels like it's always I guess I mean to say it's so risky to get invested in any live service game these days. Mm-hmm. That's a better way of putting it.
Yeah, I think, that at the end of the day, that does, like, that's what it all comes down to, because, I mean, we're effectively witnessing this, like, a similar thing to the game just shutting down, right? Like, that could happen tomorrow with this, or whether it's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League or something. If you don't support the idea of linking your PSN account and you don't want to do it, effectively the game just shut down, which is what happens all the time with live service games. And it is kind of the contract that you agree to when you buy the game in the first place. That is a good point. And then that becomes a wider conversation about live service games that I feel like at this point is a conversation that we have every fucking week.
This is like a little bit off topic, but one thing I thought was really cool to see was, like, in one of the recent investor calls for Remedy Entertainment, they had like a live service game, and then they decided to scrap development entirely after like 2 years, because they're like, and they said it really tactfully, like, due to the evolving nature of the live service, whatever. But they saw that, like, live service games are like so fucked up right now that I love that they just were like, okay, we've worked on this for years, we're dumping it entirely and doing a different idea, because it's like, it's so risky. And I was really happy for the live for Helldivers to work out as well as it did, and it just fucking sucks that, like, it seemed like such a, I don't know, like such a nice little victory for that team to have such a successful game. And then I also think it's kind of shitty to review bomb the game when it's like, I feel like that hurts the game. It hurts the developer more than it hurts the publisher, who's responsible for the decision.
Yeah,
100%.
that's true. Yeah, actually, that's the main thing that I have anything to say on is the review bombing aspect, because all of the other stuff, I think you guys pretty much covered it. But there's really two angles to think about with the review bombing, and one of them is, like Matt very, very wisely just said, when you review bomb a game, especially a game like Helldivers 2, where the community loves it because it's the first game in a long time we've gotten that looks great, plays great, feels great, and also is very much so, like, made for, like, normal people who just want to play a fun game and not maybe watch 42 hours of cutscenes or something like that. You know what I mean? But that aside, it's important to keep in mind that I haven't seen this with the Helldiver situation, but a lot of times when I see a big review bombing situation, I see a lot of people who get mad and be like, you're crying, you're a baby, you're a whiny baby, why do you have to do this? But isn't reviewing the only way people have to let their voices be heard? So their options are effectively say nothing, say don't do anything, or give it a negative review, which is the point of the review function, to say, look, I'm trying to tell you something. Just because it won't be heard by the right party, which is probably true, what are they supposed to do is the question. I don't necessarily think it's the greatest idea to review bomb the game, but I get it.
If there was some way to, like, get into the Sony headquarters and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
speak with like some sort of physicality.
Just speak very sternly.
Yeah, and sort of like a physical presence, like a physical manner, not digital, just like in real
Something
life.
very. If only there were a way to. I guess I'll say it. Bombs. No, yeah, they're. I mean, review bomb,
Minecraft.
of course.
In
Review
Minecraft.
bomb.
Yeah,
Sony
review
is what I'm
bomb.
talking about.
In Steam.
No, it sucks. I mean, they basically set themselves up to be pretty much immune from any sort of direct criticism.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I don't
that
remember what the name of the
sucks.
studio is that did Helldivers
Arrowhead.
2. Arrowhead. I mean, they might just close down because of something like this, you know?
Yeah.
And Sony's not going to close down because of this.
Nope. No. Yeah, I think that is the biggest thing that sucks. And, you know, I understand people being upset with the way the community management was run a little bit, but also at the same time, like, I think if you didn't, it seems a little hypocritical to me because on one hand, like a month ago, people loved the fact that the community managers were like sassy and like funny.
I remember
They were
that.
sassy and funny to them.
Yeah, until it happened to them, and now they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck, bro?" And it's like, I don't know, like
You liked that last month.
yeah, you can't really have it both ways. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's like a bad situation for everybody because if what the developers are saying is true and that it's a Sony mandate, it's not their fault. They're taking the brunt end of it. The consumer can't really do anything about it except review bomb, which is again bad for the developer. So the consumer,
Not the publisher.
yeah, like everybody's getting shafted, and Sony, who is the one that did it, wins.
Yeah, the actual perpetrators walking away with the bag while everyone else has to suffer for it because the developers don't want to do this.
I like in the chat, lay with dogs, get up with fleas. That's like, it's kind of, it sucks because like I think about certain games I love. They've had to work with publishers that I don't love. Just because that's where the money is. And it's like, it's hard to make big games, especially big games that are like a little bit of a risk.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, that's a very true statement. You fuck around with dirty people, something's gonna happen eventually, but also it's like, it's the only way certain games get made. It's happening, Alan Wake 2 with Epic is a weird dichotomy, and like the like Disco Elysium is another one. They got in bed with the publisher who fucked them over really hard. And I mean, I don't know if you guys played that game, but Disco Elysium's like based on a world that people had been crafting for decades.
Yeah.
Through like pen and paper stuff and other art projects and other mediums. And yeah, they got involved with a dirty publisher, and they stole the entire property from these people that had been working on it literally since they were kids.
Yeah. Yeah. The creator had,
But there was no other way to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It sucks. And I don't know. It just feels like a bad day. It doesn't, I feel like I don't know what emotion
There's no way around it.
I'm
Yeah.
supposed to feel, I feel like,
Despair.
yeah, it's just
Fear.
depressing.
The Sony execs are thrilled.
But it comes like, so there was another game pretty recently that had that was also published by Sony that had a pretty big outcry about it that I played this week called Stellar Blade.
Oh yeah.
I haven't played it, but I've jerked off to the to Eve,
Yeah, to the girl.
the pro tag.
Haven't we all at this point? No, I decided I was like so removed from that whole situation. I was just like excited to play the game. I thought it looked cool when it got announced, and I was like kind of following it, and I was like, oh, this looks cool. And then and then all of a sudden I was in like a town where buildings were collapsing down around me and people were screaming in my face, and I was like, what's happening? I just want to play this game. And so I played the game, and it's like the most like mid game I've ever played. Like I don't know, it just like it's
Hell
not
yeah.
great. I stopped playing it after like 10 hours. I think it was close to the end.
I mean, Bayonetta kind of rips.
Mhm.
I played that for the first time recently. And I was like, wow, this really holds up. Like I tried to play it at launch, and I just didn't go further into it. But like it seems like all cheesecake games kind of suck. You know, like they're all like a little mid. I don't know.
It was
The
just,
Dead or Alive games are like the volleyball and stuff. It's like
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think a lot of people are playing it for the gameplay.
I know, but that's what I mean though. Is it's like this was, if you look at their whole movement right now, which is still going on, by the way, like that has not
That's still happening.
go into the, I
Well,
It's
they haven't corrected the injustice.
they haven't
you know?
won. They haven't won yet. The war is still going on.
Which injustice are we talking about here? Like, which side is still mad? I don't even know.
The side that had a bit of the cleavage removed from their game.
They're still the mad one. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know who was still mad. I didn't know if the fat people were still mad or if the gooners were mad.
Well, yeah. Well,
No,
I
they've
just didn't
teamed
know
up.
which side.
yeah.
They're
They're all together now. They're part. It's like the Avengers. But yeah, I go like check the Twitters of these people like once a day. It's become like my little hate watch kind of like pet project thing to like watch this whole thing unfold, because it's just so. It honestly, the only way I can describe it is the way that they talk about this thing reminds me of. Do you guys remember like when SOPA and PIPA were like in the conversation, and there was like petitions, and everybody was like, the war isn't won yet, we gotta push on, you gotta call your congressman.
Yeah, I remember that.
It reminds me of that, except
Yeah.
it's about a boob game, and like
Yeah.
And it's still really horny. The game is like super horny still. I mean, there's full on just like tight crotch shots, like close ups of boobs and butts. It's like
it's crazy.
there's a couple outfits that did get nerfed in the sense that like there's like 3 inches less cleavage,
nerfed.
but
That's a funny way of
it's
putting
still a
that.
super horny game.
Oh yeah. And then it is
so
like,
goofy.
yeah, it is bad. Like I was playing the game and I was looking at some outfits and I was like, what the fuck? Like, how are people complaining? This is like on the
It's
line.
extreme.
Yeah.
The only thing I can fathom is they're complaining because of the actual like nobody wants to acknowledge it because it's easier to say, oh, you're just a creep or whatever. But maybe they actually are just frustrated at the implications of advertising something and then patching it out as soon as you buy the product. Like maybe it really has nothing to do with wanting to like be weird.
Yeah, but games change.
Yeah.
But should they?
No.
They have to.
Wait. So the developer, the CEO of the developer, stated himself that it was a change that they made. He stated in a press conference on release day that it was a change they made, and that they think that some things are more erotic when they're covered up a little bit.
I'll bet Sweet Baby made them do it.
That was the.
Oh yeah, has to be Sweet Baby.
This
Behind it
smelled
all.
of Sweet Baby.
But they stated that, and then they still kept going on, because then it became a conspiracy. Then it became, well, Sony just made them say that. So then they went off.
But even if the developer really does believe that, and they are trying to give you the most like whatever experience, is it still okay to show something in an ad and then patch it out?
Yes,
regardless of what's your reason.
We get
okay,
ads,
so that is okay.
Yes, we get ads all the time for every game that are not indicative of the final product. We get
That close to release.
Yes, we get demos. Things get changed from the time of demo to release all the time. It happens all the time. If you go back and look at any
Just because it's the status quo doesn't. I mean, a lot of things have happened all the time. All of this, the drama started because the outfits were too provocative, but there's been more provocative outfits that came before it. Just because that it is a status quo doesn't necessarily mean just we've been doing it, so we have to keep doing it.
No, but
the
I
question
think
still arises: is that okay to keep doing?
I think it's okay because the developer decided they wanted to change the game, and that was whatever their artistic vision is, and you're buying that artistic vision. The original reason
That's
why
a
people
take.
were mad was because they were upset that they thought Sony mandated the change and censored the developer's artistic vision.
People really want like a boogeyman. They really want to believe that there's like someone out there like revising all these games. And I'm sure there are situations where that
Yeah, I'm
might
pretty sure that
happen,
is something
but
that's happening.
people are like really into the idea of like there's a conspiracy here. It's kind of like it's so fucking funny because as a lifelong gamer, this stuff has been happening since the 80s. Like in between like regional changes, there's been always all types of censorship and changes and alterations for various reasons, and it's never been something that people took personally, but because of like the accelerated culture war kind of thing that we're inside of all the time now, it's like people are willing to like send death threats over digital tits, and it's like it's so crazy and so scary that this is like something that people are, I guess you got to be passionate about something, because if you start caring about real world issues, you're going to realize how powerless you are, and it's just going to make you feel crushed and depressed.
And
So
also
you got to
you're
like
insufferable and
focus
no
on
one's gonna be
something where
wanting
you
to be
might
around
have a tangible,
Yeah, that's
you know,
true. Yeah,
effect.
that's true.
I don't know. It's whack.
It is.
But-
It's really weird.
But I mean, in a way, you are confirming them, though, because you're saying people have this idea that a bunch of shit's getting changed behind the scenes and all this, and then you went on to say that's been happening for a really long time. So you're saying they actually are right about what it is they're worried about. They're just only now realizing that it's been happening.
No.
Yeah,
because-
I mean,
no,
I'm not
no.
saying it's like a conspiracy, though. I'm saying that games have always been
what
altered for
conspiracy,
various
though?
reasons.
You're
It
saying
doesn't
that
mean
they're
it's
suspe-
devious.
You're saying that they're suspecting there's a conspiracy. Look, I haven't played the game.
Okay,
I have
okay.
no interest
Wait,
in this
no,
game.
no,
What is the
I'll-
conspiracy?
I will explain it to you. I'll explain it to you. The original idea was that the game was censored by the publisher, Sony.
And that was
then-
that was the big conspiracy.
That
is
was
that
that was
the conspiracy is that publishers censor developers.
Yeah, that was the assumption. Then the developer.
But that happens.
But then the developer said it was our change. We made it. So then the conspiracy didn't just become like an assumption. It became an actual conspiracy of, okay, it doesn't matter that they said that. We know for sure Sony made them change it because of
We live in a post-truth era, and it's like it's already a fact that the game was censored by Sony. No matter what you say,
Yeah, that's true.
that's the truth for a wide number of people, and they'll just move the goalposts as much as they need to. It's happening all the time. It's really crazy. It's upsetting if you think about it too much.
Yeah. That's
Well,
true.
I don't give a shit about Stellar Blade. I really have no stake in any of this. But I'm just thinking back to times when I remember situations of developers saying, "Oh no, they didn't make us do X," and then like 6 years later they say, "Oh no, they really did. We were under NDA." I know I've seen that happen. Before.
That does happen.
Like,
but-
just is it really like wild, insane? Like this dude's just an idiot for people to be like wary and be like, these developers, these producers are super weird and shady.
Just
and
take
will
the
do stuff
L.
like that.
It's even if they did like fucking like Sony forced them to lie about it and everything, you still got a pretty fucking horny game, and then like there's a few outfits that are changed that are slightly less revealing. I get it, but like if you want to buy these big corporate products, you're gonna have to make some compromises. You can't just like demand everything be your way all the time when you're buying, from Sony. It's like, you can't. They're not your friend. You can't expect. It's like entering that relationship. You are the subordinate. You even already. It's
That's
just how
actually.
it goes.
That's why I like all the conspiracy stuff, is because Sony is not my friend. Like, I don't want Stellar Blade. I'm not interested in that kind of content. But I like the fact that people are acting like psychopaths and like making up conspiracies and stuff, because Sony's not my friend, and I want Sony and other publishers under constant scrutiny and worried that people are going to be making up psycho shit about them.
No, but the
Agents of Chaos.
The thing we were talking about though was that of course they could come out in 6 years and say, hey, yeah,
When
we
it wouldn't
lied.
matter anymore.
We lied. No, that's not my point. My point is that they could come out and say that in 6 years. But the point is, we have facts right now. We have an amalgamation of information in front of us that tells us one thing, that's probably, especially coming straight from the developer, we can't. Why just start assuming bullshit to?
Because
fit
you
the
can't whack
narrative?
off to facts.
That's true. Well, I mean, don't tell me that.
But is that
That's a good
actually the
challenge.
motivation here?
What?
That's actually the part that's like rubbed me the wrong way. No pun intended. Rubbed me the wrong way
I
about
got
this
you.
entire conversation is that
the right
anytime it's like if you start criticizing Sony, you just want to masturbate. If you
Right.
start trying to say that anything's that you just want to watch it, they can though. They can go look at all of the pornography if they. I don't really. They can. It's available. So is it really fair to the second someone starts criticizing a power structure, say you're a loser? Is that fair though?
No, because it's an easy way to kind of like delegitimize any claims about like consumer rights.
That's what it feels like to me.
But they
Yeah.
also
I hear what
are
you're saying.
losers, though.
But if you look at the people
Yes,
who are posting this
they
stuff,
are.
they are.
Did you?
I
They
like,
are
Did you guys
losers.
look at the change? Did you guys look at the petition page where they
Yes.
were posting their videos? That was
the videos
No.
are so
They
good.
took it down. That was the funniest. I had so
Oh,
much
it was
fun.
so good.
I looked through every video. They were the funniest thing I've ever
No,
seen.
what
I
was
couldn't
all
tell
this?
what was real and what wasn't, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, the petition that Grums had posted, Mark Kern had posted.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he's such a fucking grifter.
He's such a shit stirrer.
But he posted the original petition, and people were allowed to like post their videos on there, like their supporter videos to support the thing, and it was just the funniest shit you've ever seen. Like I can't.
What were they posting?
They were just like, Stellar Blade is my favorite game, and it's gotta be no censorship. Bye. And like it was just like that.
That's crazy.
It was great. It was, and they were just like sweaty cameras that were like, you know, like all greased over, and like
I don't want to look at that.
this and shit. It was awesome. It was great.
I like the question from Scooby Douche. What do y'all think about localization? I don't think a lot of people complaining or thinking about the localization stuff, but that's been like, again, as someone who was into like, I was into import games back in the 90s and shit.
We got a $10 super chat real quick from Zerusian 007. Never forget when Corona Light was going on and all the scalpers bought everything and regular consumers couldn't get a PS5. Sony released a statement thanking everyone for buying a PS5.
Out of touch.
Did you mispronounce Russian on purpose, or was that just you reading it?
Zerusian? I don't know. It's all one word.
That's just Russian? It's just a Russian. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
Russian 007.
Well, advocate for him. He's
But do you
like-
guys play any games?
I just didn't know if that was a bit. I thought you did it on purpose. And I
No.
thought I was the idiot. I thought I just missed it.
Did you guys know that they removed Ness's penis from when they localized Earthbound?
Yeah, I did know that.
Yes.
That's
And
the- that's-
did you get mad?
No.
I mean, not particularly, but that's actually why I'm trying to kind of represent their side. I mean, if I watched the videos he saw, I probably wouldn't be doing that. But it's because I didn't get like mad, but I have been frustrated for decades about the fact that I would see even games that got released in the US and weren't affected. I would have friends in like other countries who'd be like, "Oh yeah, I didn't get all that," and I would get frustrated, like that really sucks that they like altered it and censored it, you know. And they've just been getting away with it for so long that I'm completely unbothered seeing, even if it is a bunch of like losers doing it, I'm completely fine with seeing a bunch of people get really pissed off at this because games, like especially in Australia, dude, like
Yeah.
Australians have been getting like really bad versions of games for years, decades even. It sucks.
I get what you mean. I think that you are fighting an uphill battle for.
Well, I'm not fighting. I have no stake in it. It's just I'm fine with watching other people do it.
You're
Is what I'm
arguing a
saying.
very difficult side, and I also like just to come back to it a little bit. Fuck Mark Kern. That guy fucking sucks. I fucking hate him so much. Like I found out a bunch of shit about him this week too, like about all the fucking money he's stolen from people with like failed projects and shit. Fuck that dude.
I never ever want to find myself on the side that says, yeah, they're changing your shit. Get over it, loser. I don't ever want to be on that side. I know that much. I don't ever
Yeah.
want to be there.
I
Yeah, like,
know.
dude, they censored your game. Loser, touch grass. I'm not cool with that. But I also don't really care for that Mike Curran guy or whatever.
How How about
I also feel like he's only this is only a thing because someone like him is able to capitalize on the outrage.
yes, yeah,
It's a very
100%. Somebody's gotta
manufactured
do
sort
it.
of thing to me. You know what I mean? Where it's like I think there's in a vacuum, there's very valid arguments to be made on both sides, but there are basically like social grifters who are
Making
kind of
everything
just
way
pushing
worse.
this, into a new stratosphere. And I'm sure the same thing's probably happening with Helldivers, where there's probably YouTubers and Twitter trolls who are like monetizing the outrage, and so it's hard to get like a real feel for like, are people upset about this,
yeah,
or is someone stoking anger and people are reacting to being manipulated?
yeah.
It's hard to say.
It's all that's just a thing we have to deal with now.
Yeah.
Is like having to determine like when somebody is
Like,
motivated.
how many layers deep into the simulation am I right now?
Yeah,
I think that well, as long as you don't take it like super serious, you're probably it's. I tell you, whenever you start getting really into situations and you start like trying to take it seriously, that's when it's hardest to determine those truths. I think.
yeah,
You know,
for
if
sure.
you don't really care about something, I feel like it's a lot easier to be like, oh, I can clearly tell that this is manufactured.
That's
you know?
true. That's true. How about we just had a very intense conversation, real good ideas being sprouted here. I mean, I think it's safe to say we're like the philosophers of this space in our time.
We're
Yeah,
getting
I mean,
somewhere with this.
yeah,
It's.
we've made a lot.
I think
of
it's
progress.
undoubted. I think it's an undoubtable truth that as far as the conversations regarding this, we're on another level.
Yeah,
Like most people can't comprehend the esoteric knowledge that we're trying to share with them, and I don't even think the platform
just
can handle
across
it.
the board, we're on another level. But why don't we cool it down a little bit with a nice round of over under.
Of over under.
Oh, let's go. Matt, you don't know about this. This is a new segment that we've
Original.
developed. An
Unique.
original segment. We do this every week now. It's an original segment. I made it up, not us, me. I did it, and I've never heard of anybody do this before, so it's got to be. I think I'm the first to have done it. We're gonna play over under. This works.
This would be better than with a guess, I think, actually.
The way it works is I'm going to give you guys a topic, and you're going to tell me if it's overrated or underrated.
Is the topic the trans flag?
Damn it, dude.
You brought him on here.
Damn it, dude.
That's our own color scheme.
Fuck. Fuck.
I'm very online, so I see the flag all the time. That's I'm sorry, it's where my mind always goes.
Fuck.
Yeah, I see it in your profile picture now too. I'm looking right at it.
I think we gotta call this one. I think we just gotta shut it down.
You brought him on here.
No, it is not the trans.
Not
flag.
that I
He's
was-
gonna say something weird and make the stream awkward.
No, not that I was against it, Matt. I was totally on board with having you on here. What
no.
are you sipping on, by the way? I've been wondering that. What are you sipping on?
Little copper dog.
What's
Copper
that?
Dog. Is that a liquor? What is it?
It's a whiskey.
Oh, okay. I see you take it neat.
Now it's all they see. Chat's saying it's all they see.
It was on the rocks, but the rocks have melted.
Oh, I see. Yeah, my girlfriend brought me this really cool kit with these little like frozen like stainless steel. They're so nice, dude. I'm trying to get super
Little
like
drink
sophisticated.
I
Yeah, I'm trying to
I
get
got
super
some
sophisticated
bad
with it.
ones. I need to get good ones. I had some, they just didn't work.
Oh, these work so well, man.
Ugh.
Get you some good ones. They're a game changer.
I believe it.
Okay.
But explain the rules of the game to me, please.
Hold on.
Well, our whole podcast aesthetic is completely usurped now.
Yeah, I'm kind of thrown off. I don't.
It's
even know what to do.
it's a sick color scheme. I do
thought
like
it was cool. I thought it looked cool, but fuck, how did we do that? How did we do that accidentally?
Because neither of us are chronically online enough to have made the association.
Damn. Okay.
The better question is, how did we make it this many episodes without figuring it out?
Yeah, I know. Anyways, I don't know how nobody pointed that out to us in our secret episodes. But the rules of the game well, it's not really a game. It's just I guess you could call it a game. But I'll give you guys a topic. You're gonna tell me if it's overrated or underrated and why. And all of the topics are gaming themed. They're for gamers. This is a show for gamers and gamers only. So, topic 1: over or under VR.
I see the color scheme in my fucking background now too.
It's everywhere.
It's a good
Oh, yeah.
color scheme.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw us off again.
We're gonna have to
Anyway,
get the logo changed and everything.
Matt, you go first, man. You give your thoughts.
I love VR, sort of.
Love, sort of.
I was big. I got a Quest 1. I upgraded to a Quest 2 when there was a Resident Evil 4 bundle. Because I think Resident Evil 4 it's in my top 5, and I really wanted to play it in VR. And
That's a reasonable
one of the
statement.
best things I've ever played. Resident Evil 4 VR.
I can
Crazy good.
I can back that up real quick. I played it at a friend's house. He was like, "Do you want to play this for a minute?" And I ended up playing it for like 2.5 hours straight. The original Resident Evil 4 in VR is one of the best gaming experiences.
I think that
It's true.
aside from like 5 games, it's a VR porn machine and nothing else. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, that's cool, I guess. Like VR, I don't know. It's not. I just did a video about this with a VR developer. We talked about where it's at. It's kind of just like no one's made like a groundbreaking must-play VR game that is, it's like it's a weird platform too, because some of the best games aren't graphically impressive at all.
Yes.
Which is like a big shift away from what a lot of gamers are looking for, Like a lot of stuff looks like 1998.
Can you give an example of something you're thinking about?
Super hot.
Yep.
Oh yeah, super hot.
Hot's
Yeah,
great
that's a
in
good
VR.
example.
Like even
Yeah.
the battle arena game, I can't remember what it's called.
Mhm.
Blade and Sorcery. Like that's not super crazy intensive or anything. Somebody in chat said hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. Like that's
fun.
yeah.
Did either of you play
There's like
No
10
No
great
Man's
VR
Sky?
games.
Yeah. What?
Did either of you play No Man's Sky in VR?
No.
I have. I will say this. The feeling of lifting off from a planet in a ship when you're sitting on a chair is one of the coolest fucking things you can do. But after that, it kind of loses its luster.
That's the only. I don't have a VR. I don't think I owned a PlayStation VR years and years ago, but it was never super interesting to me, so I don't have many experiences with it.
The PlayStation VR kind of sucked.
It wasn't super good.
No, I haven't played the second one. I've been always kind of on the edge of VR. Like I'm always there. I have Quest 3. I had a Rift S when those first came out, because those were like only supported for like 4 months because they made the Quest right after and then developed the Quest Link. And then you didn't need a Rift S anymore, so they were just
Right.
like, you're screwed. So I had that. Like I got the original Quest, I got the Quest 2 and the 3. I've never gone higher than that though. I've never gotten a Steam VR or like a or any of the other like crazy tower setup ones.
Yeah.
What's the pass through like on a Quest 3?
It's good. You mean just like the moving out of the boundary thing?
Like, well, I read that Quest 3 has like full color pass through.
Yes.
And I think like, there's been some games I've been interested in. They're like these like augmented reality games, which I think could be really cool if like on a Quest 2, the pass through looks like a 240p black and white. It's like super hard to see anything.
Yeah, it's all messed up.
But I
yeah,
think
it is
that
good.
augmented reality stuff could be really cool.
Yeah, I can see that. I think Matt's right about that. He makes a good point.
I do like,
I
but
agree.
all that being said, I do think that it is overrated because, like you said, there are like 10 good VR games. You can try a bunch and they're going to be finicky and they're not going to work, and
You gotta have a huge room.
Yeah, like it's a pain in the ass, but I think the like the experiences, like those 10 games or whatever, like 10 are really fun, and like they're really cool, and you have just such a fucking good time. Like Beat Saber or any of the pistol,
Like a $400 good time.
yeah, not really, and that's what it comes down to. And then I think also the market with Apple entering the market recently and trying to get it to move in a completely different direction. I think we're not going where I thought we were gonna go. So
Well,
I don't.
they just ceased production on that.
Did they officially?
Yeah, they canned it.
Holy shit! Yeah, I figured that was gonna happen. I kind of thought that was gonna happen.
I
not
could be
see
wrong,
the
but that's
deal.
the in my little news thing I get in the morning. I saw that they like stopped production on whatever it's called,
Vision
the
Pro.
I'll tell you what. If I could get a version of
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 VR like exactly as it is, but I could bring up my hands and like punch the villager and he would react to it, that's a $400 good time.
Totally.
I would say underrated. If I could like be playing Resident Evil, holster my pistol and go bop, and they would like stumble back. Underrated, $400 good time. I'm buy it right now. Until
need,
then,
like,
overrated.
Haptic gloves.
Yes,
Yeah.
Matt's got it. Haptic gloves. That.
Yeah, somebody in chat says VR is underrated. VR is overrated for me, but I know it can be better in the future. Seems
Ray
like
says,
chat's
Ari,
mixed.
To answer your question, Ray Finkel, it's funny name by the way. It's I was thinking of the original, but honestly, I would take remake as well. I like them both.
I haven't
Original's
played
better,
the.
but
I think there's a VR of the remake too,
there
right?
is. It just
Yeah,
came
I haven't
out
played
last
that.
year, I
Oh,
think.
that's a PlayStation exclusive, I think.
It might be, yeah.
Yes, it is. They made a bunch of games for the VR2,
Yeah.
exclusively for the VR2, and
Damn.
I just didn't have. I also had the PlayStation VR, and I was not impressed with that so much that I just didn't want to buy the second one.
Resident Evil 7 was good on it though.
So you guys are both saying overrated.
I'd say
Overrated.
overrated. Well, is it overrated? I don't know. I don't.
Until the
I guess
haptic
if
gloves
like
show up.
in that sense, yeah, it's overrated. But also, I don't know anyone who's like abdicating super hard for VR. Like,
That's true. That's true.
whoa, you gotta get it. It's like everyone's
Okay.
like, oh yeah, maybe try it out.
Matt's running into the same problem I always have, which is that it's not necessarily overrated just because it isn't underrated. But yeah, son told me I had to pick.
That's the point. That's the point of it. Like if there's something that everybody loves, like Steam, for example, right? Like everybody loves, but you think it's even more underrated than that, like it should be rated a little bit higher, then you have a difficult choice to make. That's the whole point, Evan.
Tell Matt,
Damn.
not me. He's the one who's having trouble.
You didn't tell me this show was gonna be so mentally taxing.
Well, we've upped the aggression level with the reboot and the rebrand.
Yes. Well, it's TGG plus.
It's CGG plus,
Yeah.
so we got to bring the energy too.
And also,
Yeah.
he's threatening me.
Yeah, I've been pretty threatening lately, but that's my own personal business. I deal with that off stream. Okay, over and under two. Game of the Year editions
Whack.
on overrated.
Can it be whack or super dope?
We'll change the name of the segment to Whack or Super Dope.
Yeah.
Change it to the
Immediate-
vor flag.
Let's just make that. No, let's just make that a separate mini game that we play right after.
Okay, yeah, we play over under, then we play Whack or Super
Black
Dope.
or super dope.
If it's a game I'm in love with, I'm gonna buy the Game of the Year edition. If I have on my shelf, I have like the deluxe editions of like all the Remedy games. But I don't give a fuck about that stuff at all. It's just a way for you to buy the same thing you bought again with maybe the DLC that you skipped out the first time around on.
Yeah, and outside of it clearly being a marketing ploy to make people think that it was like a super good game, calling it a Game of the Year edition is a super stupid name. You should call it something else. Something
Yeah.
else edition.
That did actually used to mean something at one point. Like there was
There was
Yeah.
a window, yeah.
There was a very small period of time where they were actually, this
Yeah.
won Game of the Year awards, so this is
About the
Game of the
time,
Year edition.
about the time said game on screen came out was
Yeah.
Oh,
Super
I didn't
good
like
cover,
this
though.
game at all.
dope. Really?
I only played it for the first time like a month or two ago.
I don't know if we have time to get into that as a segment.
It is kind of weird thinking about
Well,
this now.
eh,
The VR
I shouldn't
thing, the VR thing, and then the Arkham thing right after. They just
the
announced,
announcement,
yeah,
Arkham Shadow.
They just announced the next Arkham game is going to be VR exclusive. Arkham Shadow.
Oh, that could be sick, or it could be very mid.
I think it doesn't matter because people are already very upset because a lot of people just aren't going to play a VR game.
That's the
or
other
Arkham
thing. I
game.
feel like you can't make a super sick VR game because it's like
Who's going to play?
what's the market? It's
Yeah.
like super small.
Yes.
Comparatively.
Yeah, it's in this very weird spot where it's like you can't put that much money into it to make a good game, but it needs a good game to get more people to play it. So
I should say real quick, I was playing Arkham City on my Xbox One, and it was super stuttery. Performance was terrible. I'd like to play it on PC.
you should play it on PC.
You should play it on PC.
That's the only reason I didn't like it. I was like, man, I love the first one, and then I played this one next, and it was like,
Okay, I will say the story of the first one is better than the second one. The second one's really scattershot everywhere.
I mean, I'm an Arkham Knight fan anyway, so
I'm going
Arkham Knight's great.
over.
you're going overrated Game of the Year editions. I think probably overrated too. This one's kind of easy. This was a softball.
Yeah,
Give me a hard ball.
Do we
We're
want to
talking
before
about
we do
Stellar
number
Blade again?
It's low hanging, man.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
It was right there. Come on.
Before we do number 3, do we want to address Ray Finkel's question there? What our game of the year so far is?
Game of the Year so far.
Balatro.
That's
I'm like 100 hours in.
Oh, you're that deep.
I have it on my Steam Deck, so I play it like for like 30, 40 minutes every night before bed.
Yeah. I think I might have to
least
steal your answer too. It's pretty great. It's one of the better roguelikes I've ever played. Did that come out this year?
I thought it came out I could be wrong. I thought it came out in March.
I probably would have said Helldivers too.
That's the only game I've played this year so far. So
Yeah, I think.
I mean, the only new game.
I think Balatro.
Also, I only know, like, I heard NoClip put out an interview with the dev, and he's saying Balatro. I was saying Balatro before.
I was too. I just copied you just now.
Yeah. Well, the dev said Balatro, but then he goes, well, the way I say it's not necessarily the right way, so say whatever you want, which is a very Canadian response.
Yeah, of course. But he co-signed the fact that I can say Balatro.
Yeah, which kind of sounds better to me.
It does. It's more feels nice. I've also been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and that's pretty good.
I haven't yet, but I'm ready. It's a Canadian solo dev, yeah.
It is long, so
Rebirth or
Rebirth.
Balatro?
Balatro is like have you played it yet?
No, I don't even know what Balatro is, man.
It's like an indie,
It's a card
First I've
game.
ever heard of it.
Yeah, it's an indie roguelike card game.
I don't really.
Based on
I don't really
That doesn't sell it, because indie roguelike sounds like, okay, great. Cool.
Yeah.
I need one of those. Like, I need a fucking hole in my head.
It's the easiest way to explain it, but it also doesn't explain the game very
Yeah,
well.
it's basically like if someone made like a really sick video poker for someone who doesn't actually play cards.
That could be fun.
Yeah, it is really good.
I think and everyone who I've gotten to play, it's basically as addicting as Vampire Survivors, but with a lot more depth to the gameplay.
Yes.
That was another like indie roguelite where I was like, damn, play Vampire Survivors, and it's like you're kind of just like not doing anything in that game,
Yeah,
but it's
you're
so much fun.
moving.
But this game, I'm thinking about builds, thinking about strategy. I'm like,
It is good.
so good.
Okay. Some high praise, fellas.
Okay. Final over under. Game Pass. Overrated or underrated?
Big admission, I've had PC Game Pass since it started, and I haven't used it in like 6 months, but I still pay for it. Just in case.
I also had I had not used it in 6 months until like yesterday when I decided to try out that Crab Souls-like game. that just came
Oh.
out.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's a little easier than I expected, but
How much
Cool.
is it a month?
18 now. It used to be
it
less.
keeps going up.
All right. Well,
It was like
18
12.
times- If you're paying $18 a month, in 6 months you spend $108. You could have just bought whatever game you were waiting to come out on Game Pass for full price.
Here's the thing: when I
He's
got Game Pass,
confronting you with
it was like
financials.
I consistently had like 7 or 10 games in a row that I wanted that showed up on Game Pass like the month after I bought them. But also, it's a tax write-off for me. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. 'Cause
Hidden
I've done
Machine
the same
LLC.
thing. Ooh, official. I don't even
Bro's
have
got
an
the-
LLC.
Bro, just hit us with that LLC.
Probably should.
I only did it because I have a couple friends who've basically pressured me for years to do it, and it made sense eventually.
I probably should do it, but it seems scary, and I don't know what to do. I'm too dumb to do that. So
That's how I felt too. I watched a couple YouTube tutorials, and yeah, it takes like, if you got like an extra grand it will help you in the long run for sure.
Okay. Well, that's leads us to our next segment. I set up an LLC. Let's cut over to the other screen. No, so you guys, what do you think? Overrated or underrated?
Sounds super fucking overrated, if I'm being honest. Both of you just admitted to paying like over $100 and getting nothing out of it.
But it's so good if you do use it. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's like, imagine just playing pretty much every major PC title day one for $18.
Yeah, because I've definitely played more games on it than I've paid for. Like, and there's a lot of
Yes.
games that I've played for like 2 or 3 hours, and I'm glad I didn't spend, $40, $50 or whatever on them, because I probably wouldn't have played them for that long anyways. But this let me try it out and decide, oh, I don't really want to.
But would you have spent that money to try them out if you hadn't had Game Pass?
Probably. I buy too many games.
And if you only played them for like an hour, you could just refund it.
I don't like doing that.
Really?
Yeah, I
I
don't.
don't
like
either. I
refunding
feel so
games.
dirty whenever I refund a game.
I know.
I've done it like
have you
3
guys-
times in my life, and I never felt great about it.
Have you guys ever refunded a game on Steam?
I have. I do it.
I did it for nefarious reasons.
Well, wait.
I've
what
only
was your-
I've only refunded 3 games.
What was your nefarious reason?
Oh, I refunded on GOG, actually.
Oh.
I wanted to see if you buy Alan Wake OG 2010 Alan Wake on GOG, you get different files than you would if you download it on Steam. Like, there's like a folder of bonus files, and there's different bonus like hidden media on the GOG release. I wanted to see what was what.
Okay.
And then once I saw, I was like, well, I'd like that $7 back.
I think that's justifiable though. Like
That's fair.
I refund games a lot, but it's usually when I'm doing the worst Steam games series, and I'll buy like a bunch. I'll have a list of games that I want to check out, and then I'll buy like all 10 that I plan to talk about, and then 4 of them just literally don't run, and that's the reason they have bad reviews. And then I'm like, well, I can't put this in the video, so then I just refund them because they don't even start up.
Can you guys tell us some games that you have refunded? Not indie games, not little games, like some actual like real games that you played and you
Atari Mania,
Okay.
which is like, you guys remember NES Remix?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Yes.
It's basically Atari Remix. You play like WarioWare style micro games that are just, it's like, oh, you're playing Breakout with a tank. It's like tanks and Breakout together. I don't know if you guys, remember the Atari 2600. It was released, several decades before I was born, but it was still my first console.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, somehow.
Damn.
I was always like 10 to 20 years behind on consoles.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very whack, and I refunded it because it was like $26. And I was like, I can't.
Right.
Normally, I don't want to get too real for your audience because I don't know like what they're like financially, but like I usually like wipe my little butt with a $20 bill, if not a 50 or a hundo.
Yeah,
but
your little butt. Yeah.
yeah, but it just felt like $26. I was like, that's a lot for like a game that I fucking didn't like at all and I'm never gonna touch again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It made me feel a little robbed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think usually that's when I'll refund a game if I'm like, this really isn't for me, and I thought it was gonna be for me, but like it's not. Then I'll.
If it's like over $20,
Yeah.
I'll refund. If it's like a $6 game, I go, let the dev have it. Fuck it.
Yeah. But I mean, I have to say, like, there are a lot of games that I play for worse Steam games that, like, I only played them for, like, 2 hours because there wasn't much there. It was, like, crazy short or whatever. I could refund it, but I let them keep it because...
You let them keep it.
I'm talking shit about
Because good
your
boy
game
points.
anyways, so.
Son, can you tell us a game or two that you did, like a real game that you did refund?
I don't think I can think of any. I don't... The 3.5 hour mark is not... I usually... Listen, I like to listen to bad albums. I like to watch bad movies. I like to read bad books. I like to play bad video games. So even if I don't like it, I'm probably going to play it for more than 3.5 hours. Because if I don't like it, I want to know why I don't like it. And,
That's
yeah.
so true. I identify with that so hard.
It's probably a waste of time. Probably wasting a lot of time.
It's a journey of self-discovery. It's how you learn what you really truly love when you understand the converse so intimately.
It's true. Yeah.
I really believe that as like a life philosophy. Like if you're like, fuck that, I don't even want that near me, bring it close. You're gonna understand yourself so much better when you get through the other side.
Yeah, I think more people...
Not to get too real again. I don't want to, I'm talking about bombing Sony. I'm talking about,
No, review bombing Sony.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
So you guys are saying I should work at like a major video game publisher?
Wait, why?
No.
Bring things that you hate like super close to you. I should get a
Yes.
job in like the government.
Only when I'm talking only about experiencing art.
Yes.
So I shouldn't. Like,
Not
get a
life
job
changes.
in the White
Although
House.
maybe some kind of exposure therapy would be good if if you got a little, if you're ready to.
Understand your
Or it
enemy,
radicalized me more.
Sun Tzu.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, but I agree with you. I do think it is. I think everybody should experience more bad media. Like you should. We live a curated life, okay? Phones, internet, algorithms. What does it even mean?
Also, it puts you in touch with other people's perspectives better.
That's true.
Ray Finkel says refunds are fair if they don't offer demos, which I totally agree with. Every game should have a demo. If you don't have a demo, I'm a little suspect of you.
The Steam refund policy basically is like gives every game a demo.
Which is why he's saying you shouldn't feel guilty if you refund it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, but back to topic. What do we think about Game Pass? Overrated, underrated?
I think it's a little underrated because I see so many people shit talking, and it's like I've had so many good. I haven't used it recently, but in the time that I have been a subscriber, it's been so good. And like games like Wilmot's Warehouse, Donut County. There's so many like small indie games. They do a lot of deals with indie games. I'm curious if indie publishers or indie devs are like getting fucked on these deals or not. But it's introduced me to so many cool indie games I would have never known about otherwise.
Yeah. I think it is cool, and I think it is good generally for the consumer. Like your mass market consumer, like most of these people that buy a console to play COD or something, and they might buy Game Pass because they think it's a good deal, and then they might try a game that they wouldn't have tried otherwise. I think it gets more eyes on projects that otherwise wouldn't have had it. So I think it's underrated.
Ideally.
I think it's overrated because it's like the cost of a new console, and it's just going to be a bunch of games that most people aren't going to fucking touch in their daily life. It's $216 a year.
It has gone up a lot.
That's like 2 AAA titles, you know.
Well, most people aren't going to actually most people aren't going to have that enough time to actually take full advantage of it. You know,
True.
They're only the average person probably only plays 2 or 3 like AAA title games a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me to give it an actual response to this because I know that I'm so obsessed with trying new games that I started a YouTube channel and a business. That it like the whole impetus is play more games and experience them, and that's like that's a good amount of my life is just experiencing games.
Yeah.
I know that's not normal for a lot of people.
Yeah, that has particular value to you. Which, I mean, I started a YouTube channel for a very, very similar reason, you know. But it's just I'm looking at Game Pass. Like even that being my job, I play old games, so that has no value to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're not into like new games, it's much less of a value. Like by a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely one to try a game based on seeing it for like 2 seconds and then never coming back to it. So it's probably pretty good for me. But I think if you're not, maybe it's not. If you're just gonna play COD, don't buy it.
Yeah, if you're a freak, get it.
Yeah, if you're a little weirdo.
If you're a
Game
freak
Pass
in the
for
gaming
freaks.
sheets,
Oh, Microsoft loves this. It's like Microsoft is about to take this Game Pass for all you freaks out there.
Okay, now we.
yo, let me hit up Marty over at the social media team and tell him about that.
Yeah. Get him on board.
Now the flag screen is much less visible. You can't tell nearly as much now.
Yeah.
What does do you think people kid themselves into thinking a lot of games they only have to pay a subscription fee for are better than they are?
I think anybody who
question.
spends very much money on anything tends to try to justify it being better than it actually is.
Well, I think they might even be saying the inverse, that they might. Well, no, yeah, you're probably right.
I also think the inverse too. I think people who get shit for like super cheap prices or for free tend to superimpose it being worse than it actually is. That's why getting the actual like precise value of something is really important, because people who pay more than something is worth will overvalue it in their minds, and people who pay below what something is worth will undervalue it.
Yeah. Wait, Canadine says.
Very true.
Canadine quoted me saying, "I'm the kind of guy that plays a game for 2 minutes and never touches it again." Bro, you make like 3-hour-long videos. Obviously, I'm not talking about the games I make the videos on. I don't have enough time to play every new game. I like to touch it for a little bit, you know.
Me too. I play like 10 minutes to like 3 hours of almost everything I can.
yeah.
Like
that's how I am too. Yeah, I if I see something that came out and people are talking about it like that, I just tried Another Crab's Treasure last night. Like I saw people talking about it and I was like, oh, it's on Game Pass, I'll try it, and I played it for. Like,
I'll be trying it myself now because you said that.
It's pretty good. It's not bad. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back to it, but I liked it for the.
This is embarrassing. My monitor just fell out. Here, I'll just put that back in.
Oh,
Bro has in-ear monitors.
No, they're just. I'm joking. They're just
bad.
headphones.
It's making us look terrible.
I just don't. I feel like I look like the guitarist from Linkin Park when I'm wearing my headphones.
Why is that a bad thing?
It works for him.
If you look like him, doesn't it work for you?
No, because I'm not playing some sick riffs right now. I mean, I'm
back
trying to
it up.
riff.
You can't.
I'm
back
trying to
it up.
riff in a sick way, in a way to
That's
get you
you're riffing
busting
right
up.
now.
That's your own sick riffs.
That's sick riffs right there.
But yeah, there's two things that I'm not doing it tonight, but I've decided in my videos I don't want to be sitting down, and I don't want to be wearing headphones.
Fair.
Why don't you want to be sitting down?
I don't.
I think you look better standing up. I think it, like, if I'm like sitting down, it's like actually. I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm in my socks. Do you want to see my feet? Like I'm sitting casual in my home as I'm supposed to be presenting as like an entertainer. I don't know. It's like I don't have like really a cool. If I had like a cool desk, if I had like a nice talk show host, one of them fucking talk show hoes. If I had like a desk, you know, like a nice big wooden desk and a nice set, it'd be different. But I don't know. I think I look like a schlub when I'm sitting in my videos. I'm like talking about toys made for children.
I'm gonna make my next video and I'm gonna be in pajamas. I completely took the
sucking my thumb.
A pacifier. I took the opposite approach with one of my most recent videos that I did like in person in, and I I got like a chair set up in front of this like CRT I have, and I put my feet up on like a stool, and I was like relaxed back and stuff. So
It's like when Shane Gillis does the pod, fucking laying down on the couch.
Yeah, yeah.
Disgusting.
I'm just relaxing. Okay.
I just constantly trying to reinvent myself.
It's the motto.
No, I'm a standing man.
Okay.
Reinvent that background.
The actually, before we talk about the next topic, I'm gonna go piss.
All right, he's gonna make. So we're taking a break.
Can I get verbal confirmation that that's okay from both of you?
Yes, you are green to go, Oscar Mike.
Okay, thank you. Was holding it for a while.
Does the show keep going?
Yeah, the show keeps going. It's just you and me now.
Okay.
Hi, Matt. You want to talk? You want to tell us in the chat a little bit about what you're working on right now? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah. So I'm part of a hip hop group called the Joint Commission. We just put out a new album, and we put another new album coming out very soon. It's called Wild Game. We just got the discs.
Okay, I actually remember you bringing that up last time we talked. I remember that.
This isn't out yet, but
So is that's a CD compact?
yeah, it's
disc?
coming out May 25th.
Oh shit, that's less than a month.
And surprisingly, these sell.
Really? Okay. What kind of genre is it again? I remember you told me last time.
It's hip hop.
Hip hop, yeah.
It's like boom bap, 90s style hip hop. The Joint Commission. I do a lot of the mixing, mastering, production. I also I like metal, but I also like to make the hip hop. It's hard to find people to play metal with up here.
I do exclusively metal music. That's
Do
all
you
I
have like a band?
Kind of. I have a co-producer, so I write
Okay.
a lot of the music, and then he does production on it. I've been in 2 different bands, but bands suck.
Yeah,
Bands are
that's
not
how I
good.
feel too. I would love to find like a couple, like 3 or 4 other people I could really lock in with, but I haven't in
Yeah.
a very long time. And there's no thrill like playing fast technical music with other people.
But
It's
good
so
luck
cool.
finding it. Yeah, good luck finding it without drama, especially.
Yes, because
Because
if
those
you
people are
like
the
metal,
worst.
you're probably a shithead.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. Like that was always the problem with the bands that I was in, is everybody else was the worst, but I was the good one.
It's
I was
so
the good
hard to
one.
explain
the problem
that to
was,
people.
The problem was never me.
It's never me either. It's definitely
It's
not.
always everyone else.
I understand.
But yeah, now I just do solo material with a co-producer. Do you have a producer, or is it a band? What do you do with your thing?
I would say I'm the producer. You know, with the hip hop stuff, like I make beats. I like to do mixing, mastering, and stuff, and making beats. You know, with lots of live instrumentation. I don't really use a lot of samples or anything.
Are you on
But I've
Spotify?
been able to connect with like a bunch of rappers in the region.
Do you have
So that's
a-
been
do you have
nice
a-
for me.
do you have
But you know, with
Spotify?
metal stuff, I do everything by myself. I'd love to meet someone who I could collaborate with on metal. If anyone likes, you know, blackened thrash and wants to
Black and
connect,
thrash. Yeah, black. That's a little outside of my territory. I do like deathcore.
that's cool.
Yeah, deathcore's fun.
I'm still a metal baby. I haven't continued my my metal curriculum with Evan in a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Or do you guys still do the thing where you choose movies for each other to watch?
No, we stopped doing that.
No, it was
Yeah, it
fucking
seemed
much
contentious.
for me. I was I was just a baby about it.
Evan was a huge baby about it.
Yeah, I didn't want to say
Yeah.
anything, but that's what I meant when I said it seemed contentious.
It was
Yeah.
contentious. I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, you
Well,
were
that's
very
because
cool
I-
about it, but Evan was being, like he said,
Okay, but
Huge
I was
baby.
giving.
no, it's a big investment to watch a movie you think
No,
is
it
not going to
is.
be good.
Yeah, I know.
I was
it
giving
a
him like
good
hour and a
idea.
half action films, and he was giving me 3-hour fucking long like melodramas.
Did
It's
did
not
you give
really
him?
fair?
Did you suggest the Death Wish remake?
Yeah, I suggested that to
Yeah,
him.
I watched that. I think I watched that after your episode.
Yeah, that wasn't for the bit though.
But Evan, you like that movie?
I love that movie.
Yeah, it rips.
Yeah, well, that's the
alright.
thing is
It
I
was
was
boring
I was
as fuck.
I was suggesting stuff like that to him, and then he was recommending me Magnolia in Synecdoche, New York.
I don't. It
Have you
wouldn't
watched the first Death Wish?
No.
Also a great
Son?
film. Great
No,
fucking
really?
film.
No.
Oh man,
I think I would.
You would probably-
I would probably like that more.
you would like it. I know you would because
Yeah.
you seem to be a you seem to have similar niche interests. I
Yeah.
feel like it would fit into your wheelhouse of it's like oddly poetic for an action movie.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of John Wayne movies lately.
Those
You'd
can be
prob-
sick.
You'd probably like the original Death
Pretty
Wish
great.
then.
I just watched The Searchers
Mm.
the other night. That was fucking awesome, man. So good. And the guy in
I just
it-
saw a dirty delete in the chat.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't do that. Who did that?
What? Who did what?
Rogue Mod. No, I watched. Or the guy that was in it actually played the original. He played Pike on Star Trek, the first captain before Kirk in the pilot of Star Trek, and then the lady that was in it. I ended up like looking her up, and she was like, she died under mysterious causes of drowning when she was on a yacht with her husband one night, and Christopher Walken was there, and she was basically murdered by her husband and Christopher Walken.
Oh,
It was crazy.
God.
But they never found it. They never figured it out.
You seen King of New York?
No, I don't think so.
All right, it's Christopher Walken plays like a cool drug dealer guy who's like basically like all his friends are black and he's like super into hip hop and stuff. So just imagine like, you know, early 90s hip hop culture version of Christopher Walken. It's he's so fucking cool in it.
That sounds sick, actually.
And I can see that version of him definitely being an accomplice to that murder.
Huh. The deleted comment was, I deleted my own comment because I commented something and I realized I'm on an alternative channel, and I deleted my own comment.
You're on a Smurf.
Yeah. And I didn't feel like changing channels to my actual channel, so I just didn't do it again.
Okay, well, why don't we move on to the next subject of discussion
Oh yeah, we haven't even gotten to the Square Enix
for the
thing.
evening. So this news came out a couple days ago, and I'm really I wanted to get your guys' take on this because it's kind of crazy to me. So Square Enix announced a couple days ago that they had calculated a $140 million loss for the first quarter of 2024. And this came right after they announced, or analysts had figured out, because they still haven't released sales data for the second Final Fantasy VII Remake, that the game was probably seemingly selling like half of what the first Final Fantasy Remake had sold. And
can you explain real quick what, like, is it just the two halves of the game? Is like the first part the first disc? I didn't really understand like why it was split up.
No, they're actually doing 3 parts. This is not the last one. Yeah. The first half goes up until they leave Midgar, and the second, or the first part, and then the second part, I don't know when it goes up till yet. I haven't finished it. But it's like a remake, but it's not a remake. Like they're changing a lot of things, and it's like kind of happening in like an alternate universe, and it's like an alternate storyline. Like there's a whole thing in the plot like that you figure out pretty like towards the middle of the first game. It's not wildly different. There are some big changes like in the second game and stuff, but it is different, and it's obviously much more expanded. There's a lot more that they've added to both of the games. FF7 Remake wasn't $70. I mean, that is true, but I don't know if a $10 price difference is enough to drop half of your sales from one game to the next. That's kind of
Just
crazy.
as like a casual gamer guy, like not interested in this series. Like I never played a Final Fantasy game really, but I've always been like, oh, I probably should. It was like so confusing to me. Like, what Rebirth is that? Is that like the second part of the remake? Because I heard that the remake wasn't the whole game. Like, I've read up on it more now, and I like you telling me what you just said. It makes more sense, but I can't be the only person who's like what the fuck is that? Whatever.
True.
And it's just background noise.
Yeah, I wondered if maybe that was the case, if it was a lack of information or.
And hasn't it been like 6 years since the first part came out?
No,
It's
more
been
like it's been like
4.
3 or 4.
It's been 4, but it has been like since they
Has it been
announced.
100?
It's been 1,000 years, I think. No, they since they announced the first game, it's been almost a decade since they announced the first remake. It was 2015.
Since they announced it like the second time.
I think maybe I don't. Yeah. 'Cause
They announced the Final Fantasy VII remake in like the early 2000s.
That's true. Well, yeah, but I think that was a different iteration of it or something. I don't know.
Did they work on the Mario RPG remake?
Let me see.
Because it was a Square game initially, I believe. Back on the SNES.
Is Final Fantasy Rebirth on the PS4
No.
or is it PS5 exclusive?
It's PS5 exclusive.
Well, there's your fucking problem. Is remake was on the PS4.
No, because the PS5 is like, there's a lot of PS5s out there.
The same amount that people would have had at PS4s that late in its cycle. Like there was probably way more PS4s just around common households than there are PS5s right now.
Believe that? I got one.
There are. I don't know. That's.
You're looking up exactly how many PS5s are in circulation.
PS4's. Sold
I'm just saying the PS4 launched in like 2013 or something, and by 2021 or no, it was 2020 when remake came out. By
Yeah, I guess.
2020 when
Well,
remake came
yeah,
out.
I guess there is half of the PS5s.
Remake came out in 2021?
2020.
2020.
I thought remake came out like way before the.
Yeah, there were
Global pandemic.
there were 110 million PS4s out sold in 2020, and there are 54 million PS5s.
Yeah, it's
So, yeah,
not
that makes
exactly
sense.
fair to it's not exactly fair to expect have the same sales expectations of a game whenever it doesn't even have the same console availability.
Yeah, that's true. That does make sense. I don't know. It feels kind of crazy, and it feels like they're getting the wrong idea, because if you look at these articles, they're talking about like now canceling some of these. They refer to them as HD games that they're making. You know, like these projects that they're working on, and so they're getting like, well, I guess not the wrong idea, because fiscally it's not working for them.
Yeah, because they'll do
Like
anything to avoid just releasing the thing on PC.
Yeah.
When you say HD game, you like the remakes they were doing of games?
I think they meant like
Super high budget.
big high budget games like Final Fantasy 16 and like Final Fantasy 7 remake and stuff. But that was, they called them HD games in their press release or whatever.
Because again, they'll do anything to just not put it on Steam.
If they put
Have
it
they-
on Steam, that would probably.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, what have they made that isn't a remake? I remember the Pixel. They say, do they handle like all the Final Fantasies?
For the most part, yeah.
Because
They
there was
did
the Pixel
Forspoken.
remake that came out. That was big.
They had Octopath Traveler 2 that came out not recently, but last year.
Oh, I thought that was going to have more of an impact than it did.
Yeah, people didn't take to it as much. I guess
It's-
looking at every game they've kind of made is kind of like, holy shit, yeah, none of these really have done that well.
Like, did you play the first one?
Yes. I did.
Anybody?
Yeah.
I liked it,
It was great.
but I didn't even know the sequel was out until after it came out.
Yeah, it had bad marketing. I didn't know anybody that was like even aware of it.
I don't know anyone who's played it. I know people that played the first one, but it I don't know why it just kind of like seemed like it just kind of snuck out like a fart in the night.
I played it, but it was, I don't know. I feel like that idea of that art style specifically and that whole concept was very like, it hit because of the time partially, like the time that it was released, like pixel games with like really good like lighting and shit like that were like a thing. Like taking pixel art and then like doing something else with it was kind of like a big trend in that moment, and I feel like it's not as much of a sell anymore.
Yeah, I've seen people be like, "Oh, let's get like a Chrono Trigger remake in that style." It's kind of like, I'd be okay if it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's like it's very okay to me. I like photorealism, but I like traditional pixel art just fine.
Yeah. I definitely don't need it.
The hybrid stuff, if it's not great, it looks, I don't know, it just looks goofy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess now, like, examining, Evan, you said Forspoken. Did they make that?
Yeah, it was a Square Enix game.
Damn. And that was
That game,
pretty bad,
I'd
too.
never played it, but I was told to dislike it.
Well, I know it didn't do very well, at least.
I think I watched
did
the
that with my freaking
Internet historian
mind.
video on it.
You should watch the Oni Play series on it.
Okay.
It's really funny.
Does it seem like a cool game?
No. It was like
Games that get hated on, I always want to be like, no, you're probably wrong. It's probably great, and I want to go play them. And every time I do it, I'm like, fuck.
they were right.
The biggest problem with Forspoken is that it's not for anybody. It has the
What it
setting
seemed
and
like.
it has the setting and premise of like a young adult's novel for like 13-year-old girls, but then the main character just acts way too adult. Like it's filled with more swear words than like a Saw film.
Yeah. It got it got really shit on at the time because of culture
The
wars
racism
stuff. Yeah, basically.
I thought it was the writing.
Well, no, it got like that was the narrative, right? Or like the big headlines everywhere were talking about, people being upset that it was woke or whatever. But it also just was looked really corny, and the everything else about it too, aesthetically and as far as like design and stuff, was just like bland as fuck. So it didn't beg anyone to play it at all.
So what's the kind of like the point here with their losses? Like, what are they doing in response to
So
things not going so well?
They're
probably canceling all their good ideas and doubling down on all their worst ideas, if I had to guess.
That's the general kind of like takeaway from what.
All right, so Final Fantasy live service game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's coming. I don't know, but that
or
sounds
just
right.
honestly more mobile games, because those do so well for them, and they're low effort. They have a ton of them already for Final Fantasy VII specifically. They have that. They made that battle royale. They have like the pocket games and stuff like.
Oh yeah.
There are so many of those.
Someone in the chat's asking about the drama around that game. I think it was just people were, anytime you put like a person of color as a lead in a game, you're gonna open it up to people being shitty about it, and then other discussions are gonna spawn from there. It's gonna just put the game on like to an undue level of criticism. So it's like some people were like, oh great, another strong female protagonist, and other people are like, this game's corny and it sucks.
Yeah.
And like criticisms go from legitimate criticisms to just anti-woke sentiment to full-on racism. It's impossible to like parse out what was the actual controversy around that game.
Yeah.
It's too late. The culture war got it, and the whole situation got mangled to the point where it's like, you can't tell who has an actual criticism of the game and who's just being like a grifter and trying to be shitty and exploit a situation.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's what happened in Stellar Blade too.
And most people didn't play the fucking game anyway.
Because it looked like it sucked.
Yeah.
And also, I was going to play Stellar Blade until I found out, one, I can't play it on PC, and two, it's like a Souls-like.
Yeah, kind of. So I was going to say this before I forgot, but like the biggest problem with it is that it's a Souls-like, and then like 4 hours in you get a gun, and then like a lot of the gameplay changes, and then there's like a whole like area or level for like an hour and a half where you have to use the gun and you can't use the sword, and it turns into like a survival horror game for like an hour and a half. Like you're
Jesus.
literally in a lab shooting with like this bad shooting because it wasn't, you know, the main mechanic, like it was a secondary one, and you're shooting through a lab and there's like things like taking over dead bodies and like jumping out at you and stuff. Like it just at that I was literally like, what am I playing right now? Like what the fuck happened? And then it incorporates the gun into the gameplay and it doesn't feel that smooth, and the open world stuff is really repetitive and tedious, and yeah, it's odd.
I also see, I don't know, man, people love San Andreas. That's true, but that was also before the 2016, like, anti-woke brain rot set in to so many loud gamers.
That's true.
I'm not even sure
You know?
how much of that is even real and how much of it is just like game journalists throwing out articles that cause a lot of like rage baiting.
Well, that's like
It's
the
very
dead-
hard to tell.
That's like the dead
It's-
internet.
It's so
theory,
fucked up.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people love San Andreas, but I mean, people loved a lot of games that had. I mean, people loved Perfect Dark. That had a strong female protagonist. People loved
Yeah.
Tomb Raider. Like people, like I think a lot of these like people fucking hate video games with female protagonists. I think it's all just bullshit.
I think it's half and half, because there's a lot of, I mean, I see them, I see the people revolting, but also I know they're part of a hive mind where someone at the top of that hive mind is cashing in on their outrage.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it what's, you know,
Do you actually feel this, or are you just like
Yeah.
being sort of
Yeah, people loved
Manipulated.
Wet and they loved Heavenly Sword.
wet?
I never got to play that. I want to play that so bad.
Wet
It's
is
okay.
Crazy.
It's bad?
I don't think it's bad. Some people think
Oh,
it's bad.
I thought you said it was
thought-
bad.
No,
I
said
it was
it's.
crazy.
Oh. Because that's the same devs that did Hellblade, which I loved, and they did Enslaved Odyssey to the West, which I also love.
You probably like it.
Yeah.
I
That's like
imagine
a
a Ninja Team. I think they're one of the better developers.
They did. Didn't they do DMC as well?
Yes,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
I also love. I know people don't like that game because it's so edgy and stupid, but that's why I
actually-
love it.
I actually used DMC as an example of what causes a lot of rage, actual rage in people. I fucking hated DMC when it got announced, right? I couldn't stand it. I loathed it. I thought it was terrible. And then after Devil May Cry 5 came out, I went back and played DMC. I was like, actually, I really like this. And I realized that I only hated it because I thought it was killing the thing that I preferred it to and taking its name. And if they had released it as like a spin-off or something, if they hadn't built it as a reboot, and I had thought, okay, well, I might still get another Devil May Cry with the Dante I actually like.
Totally.
I probably would have liked DMC, and I think that's what a lot of people feel about a lot of this. They don't actually hate the product; they're just scared that that product is symbolizing the removal of the thing that they actually like.
I do remember though. I can't. I don't want to like misquote it, but they basically were like, "Yeah, our Dante is not a little femboy."
Yep.
You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
they
it's
did-
like,
they
well,
did say shit like that.
They called him gay. I'm pretty sure.
the original Dante.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
was like
I think they did.
there was a screenshot of a GDC talk that they were
Yes.
doing, and they used
Yes.
pictures with Dante and then like I don't know, like a gay cowboy or something. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
like,
Oh, Brokeback Mountain stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
he-
like, well, that's shitty, but also the game is so stupid. I fucking loved how dumb
Well-
it was. But also, it sucks to be like, you do think a reboot's gonna replace the original.
Yeah.
That's the point of a reboot.
Yeah, but I mean, but DMC
didn't-
5 was I liked 5.
Great.
5 was fucking great. I
was
like
awesome.
all of the DMC games except 2, but that's common
Mm.
opinion. Yeah, they didn't just do that. The DMC Dante, people call him Dante, it was also conveniently modeled after one of the lead developers in Ninja Theory.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that same hairstyle, same look, everything. He looked just fucking like him.
Self-insert.
And then he self-inserted himself to make fun of the original Dante.
Yep.
What they gotta do is do DMC 2 and then actually make him a gay cowboy, and I think the money will roll right in.
Oh,
That would
yeah.
probably actually sell in today's world.
Actually, people in the chat are saying the same thing.
Yeah, they are. Oh yeah, somebody also pointed out. Yeah, because in the game he has like a white wig on his head, and he says "not in a million years," and then he tears the wig off.
Yeah, it was very much so it was a game that was insulting the very people it was trying to like market to. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that
that's
sucks.
just never a good idea.
It's just doesn't. It's not smart at all. Like
Well,
you're
it's
never
like
gonna
if you-
get good.
If you don't like the source material, you should not be working on this project. The Witcher series was a lot like that, which Sun knows something about.
That would be like if they made Silent Hill 2 remake and
James was like on steroids.
no, he
James loved Vietnam.
Yeah, the
Vietnam War, I mean.
He looks at the camera at the end of the game and he says, "Yeah, I killed her. So what?"
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Bitch.
Yeah, but the Witcher series as well. There's a ton of examples of just people straight up being like, "Hey, we don't like the original thing," and fuck
The
you.
writer for the Castlevania anime on multiple times said he didn't really care for the games.
Wow.
Is that Adi Shankar?
No, it's Warren Ellis wrote.
Oh, okay.
Adi Shankar is a
Wow.
bitch too for different reasons, but no, Warren Ellis wrote the first 3 seasons of the series.
Okay.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, he fucking sucks, by the way.
So does Adi Shankar. So
Yeah,
I've liked a lot of Warren Ellis's comics.
Have you seen the Castlevania anime?
No.
that's-
I saw some of it and I thought it was terrible.
Well, I thought the first 2 seasons were fine.
The little bit that I saw looked really whack. I saw like a compilation of clips or something from the internet. I don't know.
The writing is not super good, but it really takes a nosedive in the 3rd season.
That may have been what I've seen.
I don't think Warren Ellis is a very good writer, personally.
Didn't he do Transmetropolitan?
yeah, he did.
I loved that, but I also loved that a long time ago. I don't know how old I was. Like, I feel like I was like 19 when I read that.
That's happening.
And
to
I'm
me.
72 now.
Well, yeah, you look good. You look great, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's steroids.
Steroids age you, bro.
That's it. Just steroids.
No, not the way I do them.
Yeah, he does them different.
In my
I don't even elaborate. It's funnier. Not the way I do them.
That's happening to me a lot these days, where I'm like, yeah, you should check that out. That thing's great. And then I'm like, wait, I haven't seen that in like 9 years. I don't know if it actually is great. I watched High Fidelity the other day for the first time in years. Fucking awesome movie. That movie holds up so well.
Really?
Yes. It's so good.
I hated it when it came out. I'd love to revisit it.
It's so fucking good. It's awesome. I love that movie. That movie's great. It's just John Cusack talking to the camera and being a pussy the whole time. It's awesome.
Sounds like the kind of shit you try to make me watch.
Yeah.
I'll rewatch it this week.
You should. It's fantastic.
I feel like I've forced you off topic.
No, it's okay. We go where we go.
I just need your forgiveness to know it's okay.
We have done entire episodes
Demonstrate
where
contrition.
where we haven't talked about what the episode title was.
Yeah, but basically, if I was to like just say what I really feel right now is fuck Square Enix. I hope they close down. I don't need any more fucking RPG remakes of games from fucking like 45 years ago. I'd like a new game. And did they do Kingdom Hearts?
Yep.
Yeah, that shit's whack as hell too. Fuck Square Enix. Shut it down. Final word.
You heard it here.
Face.
Face.
No, it's I don't know. I feel like everyone's experiencing major loss in the industry, and everything is. What I really feel like is things got so big where it's like you need so much graphical fidelity. You got to work on these big systems, big modern hardware, big expectations, making super expensive games. You make games that don't look as good. You're risking looking bad to your shareholders. You're risking looking bad to your prospective customers, and you can't do anything because making games that just look really nice doesn't mean that anyone's going to want to play them, and making games that feel really great and tell a great story but maybe don't look as good and aren't as expensive to make are a risk that you can't afford to make because of the position you've gotten into with these companies ballooning and expectations ballooning. I think the industry's, the Embracer Group stuff has fucked everything hardcore.
Yeah, that's true.
But also just like the industry's kind of like painted itself into a corner where I think everything is going to have to kind of fall down. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Everything's going to be really shit for a while, and then things will come back in a different way. But I think we're just going to see more death and destruction for at least another few years. That's just my 2 cents, though. I could be
a
totally
lot of
wrong.
developers don't even know what the hell they're safe to do culturally without receiving immense backlash and their game getting caught up in some crazy bullshit.
Well, it's so funny. Like I saw people complaining that Stellar Blade was too sexy initially, Like I think Evan, you mentioned the fat people, but then I've
I mean,
seen.
come on, you guys. Okay, if you guys can sit there and make fun of all the greasy fucking losers, you got to be fair and acknowledge that a lot of the people who were mad at the other side, they were fat.
No, I understand.
If you're gonna call a bunch of people greasy losers, be
I never
fair.
said that.
He did.
I said my
You
brother's
did.
mom.
We're gonna rewind this shit back.
I've been quiet over here.
He literally said they were losers.
But-
you said that.
but-
and then you said their camera. You said their cameras were sticky.
They were, bro. You didn't see them. They were sticky.
Their
as fuck.
cameras were mad sticky. But I also saw people praising the sexy character designs in Hades 2. Like journalists, I
That
mean.
was true. That was true.
It's just like there's no standard. You can't you want to make a horny game, you want to make a violent game, you want to make a very like mid game that doesn't approach any topics. You might piss off someone, and it could just be because of how explosive the culture war is right now.
I saw someone
You could wind up
literally
like the
say-
topic of the week for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I saw someone say that it was okay the way Hades did it because the angle had it pointed down as if she was from a position of power, whereas Stellar Blade, the camera angle is up as if she's in a submissive position, and that's why Stellar Blade is like problematic. But the Hades portrayed the sexiness from a position of like power. This isn't my words. I'm just saying that's what I think I saw it on some journalist.
I hear what you're saying. That makes sense. I also think it helps that Hades has endeared itself to deviant art freaks.
Yes, they're fault. Yeah, they are.
Is that not who Stellar Blade was for?
A little bit different type of freak.
Yeah,
a little
different.
like
I don't know the difference.
basically like yeah. I've said too much already.
I don't know the difference between any of those things.
It just seems like it seems like if your game is like sexy in a very like ambiguous way where it's like maybe it's gay, maybe it's not. It's like people are into it, but if it's like if it's objectifying a woman in a very heterosexual way, it does seem like it's way more open to criticism, which is very stupid because I also know plenty of women who are like super into Stellar Blade
Yeah.
for the cheesecake factor. But it's like it's still a thing that like press outlets and people can like latch on to exploit, whereas like it's harder to be like, oh, they drew like a bunch of like sexy characters in Hades, and it's like there's sexy guys, there's sexy girls, there's sexy people who are very ambiguous in their gender or sex, and it's just like it's just a very like Hades is like a pretty horny game in a very like low key kind of way,
Yeah.
where like whatever you're into, you might find something, and it seems like that's like less readily available for people to exploit and make you pissed off about.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to like there's a weird skirting of the line that you have to do. You have to like ride the line just a little bit, just enough to tantalize, but not enough to piss people off. And then, maybe you'll
It's
maybe
so
you'll come out
weird.
unscathed. It is
Because
really
it's
weird.
all just horny. It's all
Yeah, it's
it's like
we're all just having conversations about who can be horny and who can't these days. And
Who's allowed?
I mean, like, listen, there are a million fucking games on Steam that you can go play right now that'll give you way more than you probably ever asked for. Okay? When I'm looking at these worst Steam games list, I see them all the fucking time. They're everywhere.
Did you play Drain Mansion?
No. What is that?
Okay. It was a game I picked up during one of the most recent Next Fests, and it starts off with an R word scene that is supposed to be very erotic.
Holy shit. It's on Steam. That's crazy.
It's yeah.
Everything's on Steam.
Yeah, I know.
And I go, this is okay,
Yeah.
I guess.
I guess. Yeah, it's like and the amount of the thing too is like the amount of games that I'll go through, because I'll go through I have like a bookmark of like the games on Steam listed by review, and then I'll go through and just scroll through and look for things that are interesting, and like the amount of times that I'll find a game and it's like, oh, it's a shooter or something, and I'm like, oh, this is cool, and then I just like click the next screenshot and it's just like the most graphic shit you've ever seen. I'm like, what the fuck? I can't put this on YouTube. But yeah,
I found that on itch as well. I recently I was going through games for my most recently published video on WarioWare clones. Essentially, there's a lot of sex ones
itch is like a, I think
with just like full nudity, full like FMV nudity. I go, this is just porn that you
Yeah.
like put solitaire on top of.
well, then it's a game, you know, because it has solitaire in it, so it's a game, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's wild. I think I've been pretty vocal about how I think they should probably tone that shit down, but I don't know. I guess at the same time, it's like whatever. Do it.
There's a setting you can flip on that hides all of that. I have it on.
But the issue,
I don't see any of that shit on my Steam.
the issue is though, like I did a video on this, or I did I think it was one of my first worst Steam games video. I did a game called Wars and Roses, and it was one of those like horny games, but the nudity content was a DLC that you had to download. So the game could be completely played without it, and the game that without that stuff was a terrible shooter, and it was like a great there was a lot of stuff that I could say there. So then I wouldn't like see those types of games. You know what I mean? Like
That's really common. I found that as I've gotten deeper into the seedier parts of Steam is basically like sell the game, but what you're really selling is a horny game. So you sell the horny part as DLC. It allows you to kind of get, one foot in both worlds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
as a publisher.
you can just sell a shitty game and then also sell a horny game to the people that want it. There's a lot. There's a whole. Never Knows Best did a really good video a couple of years ago, I think, called like The Undiscovered World of NSFW games or something, where he like dove all into that whole world and did a bunch of research and shit. And it's really good. It got hit with the demonetization hammer super hard. But that's just a side of gaming that nobody ever really talks about. Not like I want to talk about it very much, but it definitely is underreported on. Like we just don't pay attention to it. It's almost like people just don't even look at them like they're games, because they kind of aren't. But
I unlisted 3 of our most popular videos because they were on porn games, and I didn't like the idea of people going to the channel and seeing right at the top just these 3 porn games. Because like I was just doing like lots of like reviews for whatever I was getting sent keys for. Just because I was like, I don't know, I'm just gonna check out games, and then like the reviews are like funny. I think they're good videos and I like them, but even I felt like I was like, I'm like misrepresenting what this channel is about.
yeah.
But those the views on those like eclipsed our other videos by a lot.
Holy shit. So there's a
Because
market.
people were, yeah, though there is, but also it's like
Nobody wants
it's
to
this
be
like
known
catch
for
22 where
filling
you
that
like
market.
you look like you're just the horny game guy,
Yeah.
even if it's only like 3 videos out of like 400.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I think it is. I think someone probably should talk about it, but I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not gonna do
It's
it.
not gonna be me. I'll tell you
yeah.
that.
So like,
One of the better games I've played, at the time was a game called Oh No, Someone Stole My Photos, which is about, getting your nudes hijacked. But it's actually just like a really sick clone of like an old arcade game that just like, it was very fun, very responsive, very fast arcade action that I was really into. But it's one of those games again where you could buy the nudie DLC.
yeah, and then you could make it for Papa.
Before that, it was, it still had some anime girls, but they weren't in full bloom.
We're running out of terms to skirt around this. We've also hit the 2-hour mark, so we should probably plug and say goodnight.
I've been plugged since before we started, but
Yeah, he takes steroids. You already told us.
That's true. Yep.
He's pinned.
You were prepped. But you have a video that just came out. In case anybody wasn't here to see it, go check out.
Somebody want to link that? I'm on my alt account.
I can link it. I will. I'll link it in chat. Go check out
link it. It's about the history of the microgames genre. If you like WarioWare, it's all the games that could have inspired WarioWare. That's speculative, of course, because I didn't talk to the devs. But you know, it goes back from 1982 up through 2004 when the first WarioWare dropped, and then it talks about the last 20 years of games that were inspired by WarioWare. I find a lot of games that are lost media now, a lot of games that never made it outside Japan, and you know, if you like that sort of wacky shit that's in the WarioWare games, I think you might find a couple games that you never heard of that you might really enjoy. And I will say one piece of trivia that was really thought was kind of crazy. The very first published WarioWare clone that I could find was Lizzie McGuire 3 on the Game Boy Advance.
Let's go.
That's the first one. It's the first one.
Wow, they were the first ones to take advantage.
And it's pretty good.
Pioneers.
I played through the whole thing, and it's a pretty tight WarioWare clone. It has some flaws, but
weirdly enough, I have used the cover for this game in one of my videos before, because I don't know who developed this, but I know that I was talking about the developer at one point, and I thought it would be funny to put some weirdo obscure game that they did on screen, because I've seen this cover before. That's wild. What a small world. Yeah, so go check out that video. Go check out Hidden Machine's channel. It's a great channel. He has lots of good videos. Evan, what you got to plug?
I actually released a new video today. I released it earlier today in celebration of tomorrow being International Star Wars Day. I dropped the full series retrospective on the Star Wars Jedi Knight series. So all of the Jedi Knight games, all of the books that have or comics that have anything to do with the Jedi Knight games, the other appearances of the characters, you know, the Dark Forces games, all of it. So if you're a fan of Star Wars or you like Dark Forces or Jedi Knight games, go check that out. It's on my channel. Can't miss it.
Hell yeah. I have a Worst Steam Games video coming out on Sunday, and then I will be should be releasing my first Metal Gear Solid video on the Sunday after that. And I think this is probably the best video I've ever made, probably the most researched, probably the best script I've ever written. So you're definitely going to want to keep an eye out for that. But other than that, thank you for joining us, Matt. Thank you, everybody.
We always appreciate your company. It was a fun one.
Thank you. I think it's a really fun time.
Thank you. Well, we're glad you like our show, and we're glad you like our show. Thank you for watching. We'll be here next week, Friday, 7 p.m. with another guest. Who will it be? I don't know, but I'll figure that out right now.
Whoever it is, I'm going to take them out, and I'm going to take their spot.
Oh,
He's going to be here. Matt will be back.
TGG